Hi guys, so this is the part 2 of the PaintEffects demo, and at this point we created PaintEffects 3. We converted the textures to Arnold compatible. We imported a scene into the we imported this hut into the scene and modified the ground plane a little bit. At this point I actually have let me just bring my attribute editor of the skydome light. Remember, this is a physical skylight, and I'm going to go to the color tab over here, click on it to go to the physical sky, and I changed a little bit to the azimuth to 160 elevation. I think I left it in 45, and intensity I kind of like increased a little bit till kind of like everything looks a little bright, right? So we'll have like a soft clouds in the scene, and this time we are going to be using Maya Bifrost Cloud. So before I do anything, I need to really mostly the workflow with Bifrost is that you create polygonal geometries, look like some sort of shape, whether it is animated or not, and then you use that polygonal surface to generate your volumetric contents. So what we are going to be doing is that Windows Bifrost browser, and from here we're going to go to the volumes, and we have a procedural clouds. So if I actually bring this one into the scene right now, import it, it will create also quite a lot of things along with it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select all these things in my outliner except this default light leads or this. Control G to group it so that I can actually know that what else I'm going to bring into the scene will be visible clearly. At the same time, I'm just going to take a default sphere, and the scene is pretty big, so you will see that sphere. Hang on, it's sitting inside the midpoint as it on the grid. So I'm going to go take this sphere over here, and at this time I'm going to go reduce the sphere to some sort of like a 12. I'm not going to modify this, but ideally we will be actually pulling the points to make it look like crowd, or maybe a couple of these like a Control D, and I'm going to go scale this one a little bit bigger and put it somewhere here, maybe another one, Control D to scale it down a little bit more and push that over here, kind of sort of like looking like a clouds formations, small and bigger like that. But I'm gonna go give you guys a demonstration with just only one. Okay, so I'm gonna go delete this one and also delete this one. This is our original one. All right, so this is in my outliner. I will call it clouds. Okay, so now I'm gonna go bring in this procedural cloud, and I select it, import it. As soon as I import this graph, it's a very simple graph, but it will, let me close this one. It will cover everything in my scene because nothing is attached. If I pull out, you will see that this is the default Maya's Bifrost cloud. All right, so I'm going to go push this one over here and take a look at it, what we have over here in the graph. The Bifrost graphs works from left to right. So this is your output, final output, what you are looking at it. This is just sitting over there that you it used to be we connect things to it, so input by path, so leave it alone. So what do we have here? So it's creating a mesh sphere, actually creating a sphere. Then this is the volume cloud, that's what it's doing. And if you look at here, this is here the detail size, pop factor, fog value, cloud surface 0, and detail layers. These are all related to the cloud. This is the material which is getting connected. So this is like assigned material in my other way, the shader. And what shader is connected to? AI standard volume. All right, remember volume, that means it's all voxels. So that's getting to the volume material and then been applied and gone into the output. There is a, again, this terminology you will probably get bored, the cache. So file cache, optionally cache the cloud as a volume database, okay, VDB. This is a very, very important file format. Whether you are doing it in Houdini or any other program, they all gets converted to volume database, VDB, so they are universal. You can open it in any program. That doesn't matter, and you know. But this is an experimental. If I click on here and info, it's telling me that this graph shows how to use visual programming connection to your volume tools to generate volumetric clouds. So parameters and info. So it's an easy way to really get your help directly over here rather than doing research. So if I go click create cloud volume, even though there is nothing over here in the informations, sometimes assign material, it should give you that what is input geometry, object, surface material, displacement, all these things over here, and these are the parameters, but we don't really have anything over here. So what we're gonna do is that this is a huge mesh, okay, radius is 75, whereas my radius at this scene is right now 10, but we will go back and change the radius based on the scene. Axis 2020, I made it to 12 or something. Let me see my clouds, polypure, yes, 12 and 12 for just like a keeping it low. The number of points is higher, the deformation of the cloud will change. So what we're going to do is we are going to get this our object called clouds, middle mouse button drag and drop it in the scene. All right, and let it calculate. And so this one, this is the background just to give us the information. We can move that one over here, but this connected to it. All right, so that's the same concept in Houdini too. And not only Houdini, every program is going to will be doing that. So this mesh one, instead of this was the default one, I'm going to disconnect that and then this mesh one to base mesh. So what you will see is if I go to my cloud, you can clearly see that's my cloud, right? And how big? Probably I'm going to go increase this one to say 50. Let's not make it way too big. All right, and we know it's, I'm going to go push this sphere. The moment I start pushing it, so what I will do at this point is that temporarily disconnect the output. Okay, so we don't see anything. I'm going to go make it to wireframe, shading wireframe, and I am going to take it further back at this point, and I'm going to go make my panel to my perspective 1, which is locked I have when I created. So I'm going to look at this and then go, and then again come back and connect the out geometry of the assigned material. Okay, that's the final, and that has to go over here. So I'm going to go take it and connect it again. So it's going to go think a little bit. All right, and now I change it to regular smooth shade all, and if I render now, alrighty, so this is pretty dark cloud, right? We need to make it to not look like so dark, so you have to play with the, especially only control you have is this one. Okay, it's the detail size, pop factor if I make it to 0.2. so all you have to do is just play with these numbers and what looks good and what's to you. Okay, so it's thinking the more I went, the more details I have with the clouds. All right, so the more the pop factor was 0.2 probably, and so detail size I'm going to go make it to 3, and pop factor I'm going to go reduce this one. It's still rendering, so I probably have to cancel this. Okay, so if I make it to say 10, let's see what we're gonna get. Obviously, the more I start pushing these numbers, it's going to take some time to calculate and fill it in the scene. Okay, so I think I will, it's all about like playing with what you're doing it, and I'm going to go back to 0.4. So let's take a look at what is actually connected to the material. So this is the material, is telling us assigned material in AI standard volume. So I'm going to go, let me just, actually I don't need this window right now, so I'm going to go move this one. Don't close it. If you close it accidentally, then you go to the bypass graph, and then if you click here, you will see a little plus icon. I already have this one, otherwise there will be nothing, but there will be a little plus icon. If you click on it, it will show you that what graph is already active. So I'm going to put this window in my left side. If you don't have enough space, probably you have to minimize and keep it. So this is what the render. I'm going to go to Hypershade. This is where we have to play with, so AI standard procedural cloud materials, AI standard volume. So this is the one, and this is our texture for the tree. So right click, graph network. So when you click on it, you have, let me just make it a small window so that we can see what rendering is that way, because we are not dealing with anything over there. So we have is density. If I click on the presets, so we have foam and smoke. All right, so we'll just leave it as it is. Well, whatever the thing, the default type. So it's like a foam per water, and smoke is regular, you will see, and below is smoke. So density, if I reduce the density to 0.5, all right, I started getting the lighter color. Here the color, I'm gonna go make it white, and depth, this is the one is going to make that how far we can take this. And mode volume 1, color is 1, voxel, we don't need the temperature though, voxel fog density. So this is what you will be doing, is the playing with the numbers and values. Maybe I will increase the density a little bit more, and this is the weight, anisotropy 1, other way around. Yes. So if I bring it to negative, that means it is going to take the lights from the, so as I go slowly towards the value. So basically what you're doing is that you are playing with this, okay? And now I'll just leave it over here. So anywhere you want to place this, you take that cloud object from this scene. I'm going to go close this one, and I just move. Come on, it's rendering. So based on the size, you are not going to scale this one, or but you will do is that you will push either towards the front or towards the arm top. I'm going to go close this one. It will be at least a little faster. If not, again I will do the same thing like over here. Disconnect the output, so that will make it easier for me. This is, let me go to the other camera because my camera is locked at this point, and so you can see that it's like way too far, right? So, and I can even take it further. It doesn't matter whether it is getting covered by this dome, it doesn't really affect anything. So let's go back to panel, perspective 1, and I connect back again from the assigned material, right? I'm gonna go move this one out of the way, and I keep it over here so that it'll be easy for me to disconnect and connect. Alright, out geometry, type, and now you can render this in. Alright, so creativity is your call, but please remember the denser geometry is going to make it take a long time to calculate and also to render, right? So I hope this will give you some ideas.